Now I do have 4 o'clock.
Is it 4 o'clock? Should we go?
Sure.
Are we ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. All right, this is our May meeting. If we can begin, and we need to do roll call first. So I'll call the meeting to order at 4:01. I think. That's right. Heather, would you like to do roll call?
Recording in progress.
We do it.
It doesn't matter, it's,
I thought the secretary did it, but.
okay. Sounds good to me. Yeah, Heather Bergovitz present, Chris Chang, Rita Clinthorne,
Present?
Anna, is it Khan?
Cone like pine.
Cone, okay, Cone,
Present.
Steve Hurt,
Present.
Steve Kern,
Present.
Patrick McLaughlin,
Present.
Thomas Morris,
Here.
Roy Townsend,
Present.
Liz Wiseman.
Very good. All right, and how does everyone feel about the minutes? Or I'm sorry, not the minutes, the agenda? Do we need to make any changes?
I'd love to actually put in a moment where we can talk about our next meeting when we're gonna go out and see the remaining properties.
Okay.
Put that under place spaces. G.
Yeah.
D2.
Okay,
I'll move the agenda as amended. Second.
all right, all in favor? Aye, every time, all in favor? Will I ever learn that? I'm not sure. And I guess we'll take a moment for public comment. Is there anyone?
Do we have any public comment? Yes, Rob Pattinson. Thank you. I'm trying to figure that out over here. It's not acting how I want it to, but I'll keep working on it. Thank you. Any other public comments? All right, good to go.
Okay. And we will skip the approval of the minutes. We will do that next time.
Should we talk about our process for minutes?
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good idea. So at this point, we have Heather taking minutes at the meeting. And so Heather, you just send them when you're done, right? And what we were doing with Parks Advisory Board is sometimes whoever did it, the secretary would send them to someone and say, what do you think? Are these okay? And then send them on. And I don't know if we need to do that step. I don't know how everybody feels about that, or just send them.
Well, I guess you just sends them to you or me, whoever, if you're the chair, send them to you, and it's like, okay, these look consistent with what, you know. And then obviously, then they'd come before us, and if one of us said, oh, you forgot X or Y or Z, then we could amend them. But so yeah, we should look at them, you're good with them, then you just say, that's fine.
Then I can pass my
See if
down.
the agenda, it's like, okay, here's the minutes. So we'll have 2 sets of minutes at the next meeting,
Right. You just have to remember that.
the April and the May minutes will be on the agenda for June, which is fine, I mean,
So, sorry, I was just fiddling with the camera, which I got working, but can you reiterate what we decided?
Yeah, so Heather will send them to either Roy or myself.
You can send them to both.
Yeah, or to both.
That's
And we
fine.
can just take a quick glance at them and make sure that nothing is missing. And then, as long as they're fine, one of us can send them on to you.
Okay,
So,
and then,
and we'll have an open email, so we'll know what we're doing, who's doing what. We'll send them right on to you. Is that okay?
perfect, and then I just will include them in the agenda packet for the next meeting.
Right.
Got it.
And like I said, the next meeting will have two sets of agenda, two sets of minutes, this meeting and the prior meeting. April and May.
Very good. All right, so let's move on to reports. We have lots of fun stuff to report.
You're looking at me?
Would you like to start?
Oh, man. Yeah, the LPC's meeting tomorrow. We had a meeting last night. Maybe some of you saw it, maybe some of you didn't. They're always interesting around here. And going off the top of my head, one of the first things we did was that we decided to hire Joyce Parker to replace the interim Mark Thompson as the township manager. You may recall that a few months ago, we kind of changed that administrative position from the administrator to the manager and kind of redid the structure, putting in the manager a lot of the authority for running the day-to-day operations. And Joyce Parker, who comes with a lot of municipal experience from Jackson, from Inkster, from Buena Vista, from a lot of places, state of Michigan as well. She's to start in early June. We also had a robust discussion about a road funding and SADs and what to do about that. And there's the Washtenaw County Road Commission has a list of 18, now 19 projects of roads that kind of need addressing, and the funding of those came up. The funding of projects that were kind of on the original list of the 2013 a list of connector roads that were on that original SAD that came up, and the 10-year SAD that commenced in 2013 at $85 a parcel has run out. There are excess funds. We talked about what to do with those excess funds. There were some on the board who wanted to continue to use those for maintenance of those roads. There were some who wanted to give it back to people. Then we had a discussion about how to fund roads, which is, I think we have three systemic purchases. One is fire, well, there's going to be a millage this fall. One is police and ambulance/dispatch, which currently is general fund, but not a special millage or levy. And the other is roads, because, you know, everybody uses roads and they don't fix themselves. And so we have to kind of figure out how we're going to do that. So there was a lot of robust discussion about that, and it was decided, I'm doing this off the top of my head, but it was decided to use some ARPA funds to fund projects in the pipeline, which is part of the bus and road component of the improvements to the pathways for neighborhoods, uplands, ravines, hometown village, and help me out, Anna.
I think it's mainly known as just the upland
Yeah,
sidewalk
so
project.
that got funded. Park Road uplift and gravel uplift, and that's the portion closest to Zebra Road, because Trailwinds is going to be paving the west. So that was part one of it, and they funded all the Washtenaw County Road Commission projects for 2023. They decided the board can use a levy to impose up to 3 mills, but it would never be that. It could be a half a mil, a quarter of a mil, 0.4, 0.6, whatever is appropriate on an annual basis for road. Or then there were some on the board who strongly felt that that's something that should go to the voters. So in 2024, it was decided that there was going to be a request for a road dedicated millage. It would be a small one that'll go to the voters in 2024 sometime, whether that's in the presidential primary or the August or the May, I don't know where the hell you put that thing, or the fall one, that's TBD. And then the other is to return via credit, so don't, go out and buy anything, the SAD fund. So there's like $1.6 million. So it's not like you're gonna be coming in and say, Donna, where's my check? It's gonna be a credit on some future tax bill. So that's what they did. Another decision was to decline responsibility for the Augusta Heritage Development. There's a senior living development project that's planned, generally Baker Road and Marshall Road. And the problem is, while we have city water or municipal water, we do not have sanitary sewer. So what do? You put you don't put a septic tank for each one. You do Loch Ness. Loch Alpine has.
Private.
Yeah.
Private.
It's another person. No. So a private sanitary. So we declined responsibility to accept responsibility for that. It was kind of a formality to do that. I mean, what municipality is going to say, oh, sure, we want to be on the hook for a sewer system we don't run. But so we surprise, decline responsibility for that oversight. I don't have notes. I'm just winging this from 11 o'clock last night.
One thing I wanted to add about the, if they do the credit for the SAD fund, for the SAD, let's call it SAD.
Yeah, that's not, that's a better moniker.
But if they do the credit, the first thing they have to do is finish what they're doing this year, because they can keep working on construction this year.
I agree with you, but that's not.
Oh, that's not what's gonna
That was
happen.
not a unanimously held decision. Some said, oh, it's 2013 was year one and 2022 was year 10, and here we are in 2023.
Okay,
So
I missed the end of the discussion.
Yeah. So
Apparently.
while that might be true, that's not the direction the board decided to do.
Okay,
So it was like, the hell with it, we're gonna give that money back. Some people are clamoring for it. Some said keep the money, do the roads, but there's some ARPA funding that it can be used for infrastructure products. American Rescue Plan, I don't know what it stands for, but ARPA. So there was a fund to use there. Another thing that they approved, the board, is they approved architectural drawings, renderings, elevations of what a second fire station generally at the intersection of Liberty and Wagner would look like. So that's something that's going to be done. And that's something that has to be done. Well, it's not like, gee, let's pay up to $75,000 or $50,000 for really nice drawings. So that's something that has to be done no matter when it's built or no matter what's built. So based on the fire committee's recommendation of what the structure should be to house certain apparatuses, trucks will call them, they're gonna kind of design the look of something that, if approved in the fall for a millage, or if approved at some future event, we'll have an idea of what a second fire station at that location would look like. I think that was it. I mean, there's more, but I think I've taken up more of my time than I should have.
5 minutes is up.
Yeah, my 5 minutes was up 6 minutes ago.
okay.
I'll give a little report next. So just to pull out an aspect from the Board of Trustees report, to focus in on the Uplands project, which is that sidewalk connector project we spoke about a couple of meetings ago as a group. Essentially, we've been moving forward with the project and we got the okay to continue on with the project, but there was kind of a question mark on funding. And last night, that question mark was alleviated in that, as we just heard, we'll be able to use ARPA funds for both the bus and the road aspect of the project. And we have some, I think, yeah, we have 200,000 budgeted in the parks budget for this year. So now we can really move forward with the project and know that funding, we know where the funding's coming from. So that's a bit of a sigh of relief. And that project is moving forward. We're working with Washtenaw Engineering. Joe Maynard is the name of the rep we're working with. So if you hear that name, you can think Washtenaw Engineering. And yeah, plans are in review and hopefully they'll go out to bid really soon. And I think that's my main report there. I thought we could use this report time to just hear from folks in different committees to share what's relevant to the parks going on in their committee. Popcorn, speak up.
Okay, I'll go, and I can report on two things, and Rita, you can join me on the second one. But for LPC, really, our next meeting is tomorrow, so we always meet the day after this group. Our last meeting, probably 2/3 of that meeting was taken with a presentation by Dave Lutton, who is a Scio resident and a developer who has a big piece of property that abuts Dexter. And so he has a proposal to sort of divide it into 3 parts, with a preserved section being one part, and then various parts of it. But anyway, he talked about that and presented it to us. And I think that it went to the board before the board at their following meeting. So that's kind of the LPC update for this month. That was a whole month ago. And then my second one, Rita and Anna and I together interviewed candidates for 4 positions, parks positions, and there were 2 steward positions and 2 research positions. So the stewards are building trails and removing invasives and kind of maintaining our preserves and working on building new public access. And then the research jobs they're doing a bird survey right at West Scio, right?
Yes.
Bird survey and plant also?
An invasive.
Okay.
Survey.
So anyway, we interviewed 9 candidates, I think, right here, Rita, 9?
Sounds right.
Really had some excellent candidates, and the 4 we made offers to have all accepted. Just a terrific group of 20-somethings, just really awesome. We were so impressed. It gave me a personal uplift to know that there are people like that are so committed to the outdoors and the making the outdoors available to people. It was the coolest. So anyway, Anna developed a scoring rubric. We asked everyone the same questions. Among them were invasive plant ID, bird ID, about their land management experience. We looked for diverse perspectives that each one was bringing to their work, and GIS experience, which is, I guess, y'all probably know what that is more than I do. But mapping of the research, yeah, okay. And then, and we looked for motivation, self-motivation, past experience, and the ability to work well with other people. And so it was a good, I would certainly say it was a great experience.
I'm very excited.
Very
about it.
happy with the people that we got.
Right, and the candidates that we chose, I guess they're not candidates anymore. The new hire, they really complement each other.
They did.
So someone might be really strong in knowing all kinds of invasive plants. One woman was she came in a DNR outfit and she's working with the DNR now and we're stealing her away. But she was excellent with identifying invasive plants, but she didn't have GIS. And so the person that she's going to be partnered up with has some GIS and other things that will complement and balance out everything. And the same happened with the internships. One person was stronger in GIS.
Some of these people will be putting information into the GIS system, is that the idea?
They'll be using GIS and creating maps, and they'll also, especially the interns, will create a presentation at the end of their internship to present to us, and it'll be on the
More
website.
detailed maps of the township's properties, like the preserves and the parks, is that?
As far as, yeah.
There'll be if I can jump in
Go
here.
ahead.
So the 2 research interns, they'll be doing a breeding bird survey, and then they'll also be doing an invasive species survey. I have a kind of priority ranking, so we'll be starting at the preserves that we know are the most ecologically rich, and getting to as many as possible, doing an in-depth invasive species inventory, and then mapping that so that every year we can kind of watch our population shrink ideally. And yeah, we have some great GIS skills coming into the department to help with that project. And part of this position, the internship position, is they'll be giving a presentation to you all at the end of the summer on their research. And I also intend for them to come to our next meeting so they can meet all of you.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much, Liz and Rita. That was so awesome to have you there and have your perspectives and the time you gave. Thank you.
Yeah, and the young men that took the stewardship positions, they kind of said almost the same things. You know, when we asked, what would you like in your work partner with someone who's passionate and who cares about the environment and who's, you know, got a good attitude and likes to have a little bit of fun, but there were similarities, and mostly they were both very passionate about what they were doing and cared about the environment.
We said, we've got to introduce these 2 guys to each other. They won't ever meet but us.
But it feels like it's gonna be very, very nice, so. Looking forward to it.
Liz, I have a question about the land preservation committees.
Yes.
Discussion. So this parcel you're talking about, is that over by Baker Road? Is that?
It has frontage on Baker Road, and then it backs up to a housing development in Dexter. So it's a big, I don't have the acreage, it's like,
Is this related to the development where they
it's
want?
Baker Road
where they
Land
wanna annex it?
Holdings. Yes.
To Dexter, okay.
That's the one, yes. Baker Road Land Holdings.
And they're talking about,
And then so he wants to divide it into 3 sections and have Dexter annex 40 acres, and then have a section in the middle that's preserved, and then sell another piece of it to a residential facility for disabled adults.
and this preserve that would be remain in Scio Township, is that the idea? And
Yes,
it would be something.
that's the current formulation.
Something that would be acquired by the township?
He would sell it to the township, yes. He has said, though, that this whole thing has to happen together or else nothing happens. And so it's kind of, there are lots of moving pieces. And if any part of it doesn't get approved, for instance, if the site plan for the adult
Package deal.
residence doesn't get approved, then everything else is up in the air. Or if the annexation doesn't get approved, and of course, that's.
Like basically a PUD.
No,
No, not a PUD.
no. So there are 5 parcels comprising 236 acres. There is a 45-acre parcel that is mostly wooded, that is south of Dexter Crossings neighborhood subdivision, which has sewer and septic and roads that go into the woods but stop right there. It would be a perfect place for a subdivision if somebody wanted to put one there and had sewer and septic. Dexter does, but you know, that's a potential annexation question.
And it is
the
also,
parcel.
That's the parcel.
That's the annexation parcel.
Well, no, that's actually part of one parcel. There are 5 parcels that are going to be divvied up conceptually into 3 new parcels. So the 87-acre, mostly fronting Baker Road, would go to Many Hands, a 501c3 organization that wouldn't have sewer and septic. That if you guys know what Dawn Farm is for drug and alcohol treatment, it would be kind of like for adult disabled folks, like a therapy through farming. I mean, that's my way of saying it, not theirs, but that's kind of what they will be living there, and kind of farming as part of the therapy, working the land. And then there is the rest, 110 acres, some on the right side of Baker, some on the left. That would be the portion that the LPC committee would acquire so that Anna could have one more parcel to take care of. And there is a part on the west, which is a smaller part, that happens to be slightly north of this Sloan Preserve that we have, but it also has arsenic on it. So what do you do about the arsenic? abate it, we do it, they do it. You take it out of there, you cap it and say, stay off, contains arsenic. So it's a lot of moving parts. Things have to come together potentially at the right price and the right order. If one, Dexter wants to annex, and two, Scio is interested in talking about that. So
I mean, it's like a PUD and then it's the package deal. That's.
yeah, but a PUD would kind of let you have some creative zoning on there. This would be, it's agricultural zoning. Yeah, they're not applying as of this juncture for a rezoning to the PUD.
Right, PUDs are usually used to get around zoning.
Yeah. There you go.
And unfortunately, I guess the property that's closest up that he could like to see, maybe Dexter would kind of annex in for this sewer and water is actually a pretty sweet parcel.
I will just add that 45 acres is beautiful and it has turtles sunning on rocks and lakes and, that of course, that's what he wants, or that's the higher ground that he wants to put houses on, but it would be it's privately owned, so, we don't have it unless he lets us buy it, but, and he wants to sell it for much more than that, but it is a beautiful piece of property.
Is that naturally occurring arsenic or is that?
That's a question.
You go check it out and tell us.
Yeah, it's piled up, it's really heavy.
We don't think so.
Yeah.
It may, if it was in the dirt, they pile it all in one place.
Yeah.
So it's been subject to movement by man, either the dirt or what got into the dirt.
So Scio doesn't want to pay for that, we're not gonna pay anything for
Thank you,
arsenic
Anna.
contaminated property. And in my view would be that if they remediate it in the proper way, we'll pay something for it, but if they just, say it's gonna be fine, we're not paying for it.
Behind you is,
Don't worry, just stand
good
past,
depiction of
kids.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the map is up if you wanted to have a.
green is proposed to be acquired.
This is the parcel that they want to develop, and this is the proposal for reserve, this green part, and then this is the mini hand skating center. It has all the road frontage.
So you were enthusiastic about the part they want to develop. What about the part they want to?
This part is lovely, and it butts, this is Dexter Crossing on the very top, that little neighborhood in there. Nice little house, and we went and saw the property, and the neighbors are like, this is the most beautiful piece of property, we love it so much. And so they want to, cut through there and develop into big houses back there.
What about the part they do want to preserve? What is the feeling of that?
Oh, it's beautiful
It is
too.
as well.
The
Okay.
whole parcel is lovely.
But you'll see the problem. You see how there's this little strip top left?
Yeah.
That's a strip that is I believe Consumers Power, but maybe DD.
Yeah, it is.
It's
An
a
easement.
gas easement.
Yeah.
So you're kind of limited as to what you can do on an easement. Can you put a gazebo there? Can you put structures there? Can you put a road there? Can you put a path there? So let's say we buy that juicy piece of property. How do Scio Township residents get at it?
Well, I think the only way to do it would be right here. This is a Scio.
Or park across the street, walk across, or through the neighborhood. So I mean, all that's, what I didn't say last night is there's also a committee that the board has to kind of talk to Dexter when and if Dexter wants to talk to us about whether they want to do this. It's not clear that Dexter's going to want to do this. I mean, there could be people in the Dexter crossings that say, hey, we don't want construction traffic through our roads. We don't want to have to put in speed bumps. We like it rural like that. So that's Dexter politics that I don't need to, I got my hands full here. So that's TBD on their end.
And it's just a question of two municipalities working out some sort of deal or not to do it and stay in a good relationship, because here we are with Dexter will be taking a piece of a chunk of Scio land, which, like, why do we want to give this up? That's me though.
Liz, would you mind pointing out one more time Sloan Preserve on that map for people?
Sloan is over here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
on either sides of the arsenic patch.
This side, so the arsenic is in here. Yeah.
Follow the pipeline.
Right in the middle, so that if you go to Sloan Preserve, there are two trails, the parking lot is back here, but there's a trail that goes this way and a trail that goes that way. And you can kind of walk down by Mill Creek down here, which is lovely, if you all haven't done it, you should do it, it's beautiful. But anyway, that is the arsenic contaminated area, right in the middle. It's right adjacent to White Lotus Nursery on Baker Road.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's just Lotus. White
Oh,
Lotus
Lotus.
is the farm on.
White Lotus is the farm on Liberty,
Liberty.
okay, right.
And I checked that out because you were, I think we were talking
Okay.
about, are they connected? I don't
Yeah.
think they are. I think they're two
Oh,
different.
it's okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. Any other reports that we need to do, Anna? Anybody?
Just real quick, at road advisory committee last meeting, Representative Jill, Jerry brought that. The question was from the board, I guess, is should the road advisory committee be involved in pathways, trails, and sidewalks, that type of stuff? And there was a fair amount of debate, and then one member of the board said, you're looking segment letter J in our charge, that was one of the charges of the roads advisory committee to look at that. So, like I said, it was sort of debated, but at the end of the day, it is a charge that road advisory is supposed to be looking at not only just roads, but pathways, sidewalks, other things, more like a transportation, because I mean, roads is one way to get transportation. Obviously, people walk, bike, take buses. So transportation is more comprehensive than just saying everyone's gonna drive their car to here and from. So the road advisory committee really is supposed to look more comprehensive rather than just, you don't drive a car, you don't count. So look at more, it's like, well, let's count everyone in the township. So I guess as we move forward, we're supposed to be taking that into account. So I guess, if we do go before the voters in 2024 with some kind of proposal, one option from the road advisory committee may include that. Not saying it will, but it may, and I guess that's what the board asked us to look at as part of the charge. I mean, that was multiple things, that was one of the things. So as that moves forward, may hear more about that, so.
Okay, so we go on to play spaces. So,
Oh, sure. These are just weeds.
So Anna and I have met a few times with Alan Samuels, and he's from the Stamp School of Art and Design. He's a retired professor, and he, I think he contacted you, didn't he, Anna? And he would like to kind of make some contributions to Scio Township as far as doing things in our parks that would really speak to the ADA kind of requirements that we have, and just help us design things that would be consistent in the parks, sort of like something that we could tie in to the different preserves, a different theme. Anyway, these are all ideas that we have anyway. We've met a couple of times and talked about quite a few things. So trying to take into consideration what's the audience, different age groups, different lenses, different people going there for different reasons, and how to address all of those things, how to include everyone, and times day so that the parks aren't closed at night. People might like to go there and do some stargazing if it's dark. But we're trying to take into all those different kinds of considerations, also different languages, have things that can appeal to different languages to be more inclusive. Especially with children though too, and the disabled. Those are two areas that he's really thinking about as far as our discussions go. And some of it is a lot of hands-on playful things that are engaging, especially for children that are disabled in different ways. So having things that can be used by all of those folks in Scio Township or as they come to us. But not only that, maybe as we think about all this, the bigger picture might be some of the parks we might want to be able to like show movies in or at nighttime, or we might want to have little concerts or other, poetry readings or other activities, things that the community could come to. We're also talking about trying to make it low maintenance. So whatever we put in there, we don't have to keep replacing because it didn't work. So anyway, Kelly, do you want to add a little more?
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Rita. So we've met with Alan a couple times, just kind of sharing ideas. It's amazing that he wants to volunteer his time and expertise to help us develop these parks in a way that's congruent with the PROS plan and the mission to make nature accessible to everyone, right? The Parks Department is supported with millage funds, and so that makes sense to ensure that people can come and play. In our packet, you'll see all of our properties listed. I think the document was called West Scio Preserve for people on Zoom. It's not just about West Scio Preserve, that's just the first word on the document. But it's all of our properties that are parks or preserves, a little info about them, and then possible themes. So Alan shared with us the idea that we could potentially tie together our properties with themes. I think when we first started meeting, we met twice, I was kind of thinking like, okay, let's get a play area in and let's go. And with his expertise, he was like, let's zoom out and create something congruent and create a plan that you can build upon and include in your PROS plan, thinking a little bigger. So you'll see under each property, there's a possible theme section. We'll look at West Scio, which is the first one. Possible themes, water. So this property is very wet. There's Honey Creek, there's vernal pools, there's wetland. Maybe we do a water theme there. If you look down to Marshall Park, a possible theme could be ride and roll because it's right by the zebra pathway. So maybe there's a biking theme, picnic theme. So I think the idea of being here, we could like kind of create a vision for each property and then start with one and see where we go. All to say, if anyone's interested in joining Rita and I to continue meeting with Alan and planning this outside of meetings, that could be great. I just would love to have a conversation here with the group to get like initial thoughts. And perhaps we could invite him to come meet with us should he wish to continue working with us once we like start moving forward. Any thoughts?
Is Alan a Scio resident? Is that why he wants?
Yes.
Is he really? It's a good resource.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
I think it would be exciting if you'd be willing to come in sometime to one of our
I
meetings.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is kind of cool to go to a studio and see some of the prototypes and things that he's done in the past. And he has just this table that's probably as big as the middle of this, and it's just filled with different kinds of paper prototypes that he's made, but the room is all around us is also prototypes. He has a toilet on, I think it's on wheels that you can actually flush. He's got, I can't even think, he's working on making or trying to design a box that people in third world countries, whatever, can use for their infants and to carry them even, or to put them in at night or for safety. But since they can't have a crib, maybe migrants or, whatever. So anyway, he's got a lot of ideas going on. And on the table too are a lot of seating configurations, just clever benches. Instead of just plopping down a bench, he's got seating that addresses, do you want to be social or do you want to be alone and bird watch? Or do you want to just be alone, or do you want to possibly have a conversation? And so it's all these clever little ways of designing seats that are either inclusive or I'd like to be alone. So anyway, it's actually, it's really exciting to meet with with him.
If you're setting up another meeting, I'd love to go to one.
Me too.
Yeah.
We usually try to do it, you know, is he 80? Is he in his 80s, I think?
Yeah,
He doesn't look like it, so it's confusing. But, you know, so we kind of have to take care of him here. And like he meets, I think he said he likes to meet after lunch, but he has met with us before lunch. So we try to figure out like, what's the best time of the day for Alan? But I mean,
it sounds like perhaps there's interest to just invite him to our next meeting. So that, okay, I'm still kind of learning like when something happens at a meeting versus interested folks engaging outside of a meeting. So maybe,
I think we could do both ways, Anna. I think if anyone is interested in coming to his studio, or if we meet in a park, which we may do further down, we've talked about doing that too. But we can do, I'm happy to open it up and people can come into a studio. I'm sure he would be happy to have us.
yeah,
And then he would also be happy to come to the meeting so that, you know, more people, to include more people in the talk.
okay, so how about this? What if we met once more and folks interested could come and we could kind of narrow down this list of themes? And then we could invite Alan in up to our next meeting and present what we have and everyone could meet him and we could keep moving forward. Okay, great. Can I just like see who might be interested to make sure it's half of the group, if not more? Okay,
I'm hesitant to commit.
Interested in-
Yeah, I've been canceling.
Oh,
Oh, is
it's
it?
good to know who's interested. Sorry, what did you say?
Interested in having him come to our meeting as well?
Oh, let me clarify. I'm interested, I want to know who's interested in going to his studio, because I think because of Open Meetings Act, it can't be all of us.
In other words, you're trying to avoid a quorum
I am,
through a majority.
yeah.
Okay.
But raise your hand if you're interested genuinely, and if it's too many people, we'll just have them come here.
Or, I mean, I'm happy to back out and let other people go too.
I'll raise
I mean,
my
I
hand
feel as
halfway.
if
Yeah, I'm
People can,
interested,
yeah,
I don't-
right, right.
Okay, regardless of the quorum issue, who would like to come to his studio if we could? Just
I can back out
Okay.
Sounds like
too.
a couple of us.
How about this?
I'm done.
We just have Alan come to us next time, the studio.
Yeah,
is
then we'll
us.
go from there.
Okay,
Okay,
great,
okay.
If we had a special meeting, because we've had a special meeting out in the field,
true.
we posted a special meeting, well, we talk about this next special meeting was up in Carroll, I don't know where this guy lives, but the special meeting included at some park that at some is a studio, would that be a violation as long as we posted it?
Oh, this is a great point because his studio is right by West Scio Preserve.
It is.
So we could do a combo special meeting.
Because you just really couldn't invite the public to his studio probably.
I think it, you know, it's not a huge space, so I think it would be,
Open meeting.
yeah,
I see.
so,
All right, well, I guess we'll get more clarification on how
okay. I think it's better if he comes here.
it comes here
But
first.
if we did a
and
special
go on
meeting
over.
outdoors, that might be, the thing is, if he comes here, then he can do it, he can do his live presentation if he'd like, and he might just like to do that.
Yeah, okay, we'll invite him to our next meeting and then.
Rita, you've talked about natural features, play structures. Is that something that's in this project or is that something different than this?
Well, it kind of is, but a lot of the things that he has, especially for ADA, are maybe molded things or maybe made out of wood, but it would be very specialized. So it would still have to be kind of designed and probably built somehow with some kind of material. I just love natural play spaces. But you can always work in something, but I've just seen, I keep sending Anna pictures of natural play spaces when I go to them because I just love them. There's one in the Arboretum that I found. I don't know how many people have seen it, but it's kind of hidden, but it's on a trail that goes along the fence line of the cemetery.
Oh.
And that is a trail somehow I had never walked, but if you go birding there with with Juliet Berger on Thursday mornings, that's one trail that they often take and it passes that play space and it's just amazing. There was a preschool group there and kids don't need a lot of plastic around them to have fun. These were just big trees that were piled different directions and they were involved. So anyway, but I think Alan is really exciting to talk to because he has so much experience doing this and so many thoughts on it already. Where are we?
I think we have an added agenda item just to, is this where we decided to briefly speak about our next special meeting?
And we'd like to we did the one special meeting and I think that was very good. And we'd like to go to the other reserves and parks. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but last time we did it at about 4 o'clock on a Wednesday. So I don't know if people can do that again, if it's possible to do it in May or it would be nice.
Like the 17th Wednesday, like next Wednesday or the Wednesday after?
The 17th would work for me.
I have something at 5:30 that day, but don't plan it around me.
Is the 24th better?
Better, yeah. Who else can do, so what if we tried the 24th?
Great.
Can anyone else do that or does
Sorry, was
anyone
that
else want to?
17th?
We're thinking about the 24th.
Oh, 24th is fine, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Tentatively,
Yes.
yes?
this will be similar to last time where we'll meet up here and then do a little carpool caravan. And if you can't make it, but you really wanted to, I can take you on the same tour and we can do it again.
That's 4 o'clock? Meeting at 4 o'clock?
Meet at 4 o'clock here.
And we'll go to the West Side Reserve, that's the,
West Scio Preserve, Liberty Pond, Van Curler.
oh, wow.
I'm thinking about how we're gonna do that with no parking lot. We'll see how many cars we have.
Okay.
And it'd be great if we could also scope Zeeb. We'll see how much we can fit in.
Usually takes a little longer than I mean, last time we went to, it's like, oh, we still ran out of time. But we'll
Yeah,
put a big list, we only get half, we need the other half gets next time.
exactly.
And I'll have one more seat available this time, so if that
Excellent.
helps, yeah.
Okay, good. 24th it is, 4 o'clock. We'll be here and we'll have, I'm sure, Anna, you'll kind of do a plan and post it online. So if anyone in the public would like to join us, they're welcome to do it. Good, okay. So the next part on our agenda is benches, and I know that Anna kind of had to buy a bench to meet a requirement for a grant. So do you want to just go ahead and speak to this?
Yeah. So I'm working on closing out a grant from 2017 that involves Zeeb Phase 3, Marshall Park. And we got our grant deadline extended until the end of June. So we're on a bit of a timeline here to get a bench in, trash cans in, and officially close out this grant. The construction's been done for a while. The Zeeb Road pathway is looking good there. But in needing to purchase a bench rapidly, it kind of brought up questions like, what type of benches do we want in the preserves and the parks? It's important to have a place for people to rest when we're talking about accessibility and aging population and community. Like we want people to be able to sit and talk and rest together. And so I thought we could have hopefully just a fun conversation about like, what benches do we want? I made a couple notes. To me, when I'm thinking about a bench or like picnic tables at preserves, I'm thinking about price, aesthetic, security. Can it be secured very well? And also ability. Can people of different abilities use the product? We have kind of like a motley crew of benches happening right now. Some are falling apart. If you've been to Sloan Preserve, you know what I'm talking about. Some look great, like the one at the entrance of Sloan. We also have a couple picnic tables that were purchased less than a year ago, I think, with parks through parks that are like composite plastic. But regardless, I think we can kind of start fresh and create what we're gonna stick with. And it would be great if all of the benches and tables were the same at every property, just for continuity's sake. In terms of maintenance and like if we need to replace parts, that would be great. So I have on the screen some benches, and I thought we could just have like a brief conversation to share ideas. There's different types of benches. This website is Treetop Products. This is who we've purchased from in the past.
And one thing that we talked about materials, and as far as wood, it can be high maintenance. Actually, so can metal. But we were also talking about using recycled plastic. Just seems like it would hold up for a long time, and it would keep that plastic out of the landfill.
Yeah, from a maintenance perspective, recycled plastic or Barco board, which is what was purchased about last year from Marshall Park. Those are probably the best maintenance wise.
And those are a combination of the recycled plastic and wood.
I think
If
Barco
I
board,
understand right. No?
my understanding is Barco board is just a specific composite plastic that is super durable.
Okay.
How would you secure any of these?
So I spoke with a contractor recently, and it seems like there would be like a sunken slab of concrete and then drill down and then
Bolted.
clamp drill up into the bench. But yeah, sunken in concrete.
County parks, usually every trail segment, we put in 2 benches. So you end up with a concrete slab, and then we put another 5 foot next to it for ADA compliance. So the slab ends up being 17 feet in the front, 13 feet in the back, 6 feet wide. So it's fairly large, but that's to put your bench in, have a spot. And obviously we're on a paved trail next to a paved trail. So that's just for, the other thing too, when you go buy them, you can buy them, through places that already like state bids, like My Deal and different things like that. Municipal things, so you can get their best price, because these things are sort of crazy pricey.
Yeah.
But then with the slab, then we bolt them into the concrete. This way. So it's always sort of like ends up being a lot of work, but the other hand is you don't want them to disappear. If not,
You need a slab if it's on wood chips or natural, like when you need, like.
Well, no,
let's say you put one by the river, you put, along the Sloan Trail.
Right.
If you want to, you brought it back there to the river.
Right, because that's not gonna be ADA trail. It's a path, not it's a walking path, not an ADA trail, like not a paved trail.
You know how they have those screws that go down?
Right.
And you could.
Right, it seems like there's be another way, if it's not an ADA path, which we're not putting it next to, then, because the concrete's gonna get very expensive real quick, and you're not gonna get concrete in by next month, I guarantee you that, unless you do it yourself, just because the concrete guys are all booked, so that's why I think, and I know, because this is not the last phase of ZEEB, this is the phase before ZEEB, so it's sort of like, it's money that we should, it's like $300,000 sitting in Lansing, we shouldn't be coming to, so, I think we need to, not that we want to rush it, but so like we need to pick a bench, at least put it out there and anchor it, and put these trash cans, so we can finally get $300,000 from the DNR trust fund that's been sitting up there in Lansing, but we can't get, so.
The part the bench that's by the parking lot at Sloan, is that somehow anchored?
Yeah, but I don't know how. I haven't checked. Also, just to clarify, Roy, I quickly bought a bench from Lowe's to try and close out this grant. So that bench is purchased, but now I'm just thinking longer term. I also recently learned I learned that there has been nearly 7 dedications promised to folks. throughout the years. And I would love to get benches and get some plaques up to respect those agreements. So there's just kind of like a lingering bench need that I thought we could address.
So does this mean, can you click on one of those and a whole bunch of memorial benches comes up or something like that?
If I click on recycle benches, I just clicked on recycled, then there's kind of different styles. And I guess I'll share what I'm thinking and then I'd love feedback. I think benches with backs are nice so that people can really rest.
Yeah.
Okay, nodding heads, we agree. Armrests, I guess, are really useful and nice for people who have trouble getting up and down.
Yep.
So something with backs and armrest. Any strong aesthetic preference for like, what color would you like to see out there?
I know this is just one small example, but actually, when we were taking care of my mother-in-law, armrests were not easy for her because she couldn't gain any strength having her hands up this high to stand up. She would always push from her seat to get up. It was easier that way. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but that's something to think about too. I'm not necessarily all that certain that armrests are that helpful from that standpoint. There could be other good reasons for them, but just a thought.
All the county ones, we don't buy the ones without armrest.
You buy the ones without?
Right, they're just the bars, the recycled plastic is a seating area in the back and there's.
Does it look like top right?
Steel frame.
That's the one that I was
Yeah,
thinking
you can
about.
Zoom in there on that one, something like that.
And also
Yeah,
for
I
different
agree.
size people too, if the bench part isn't wide enough from the back forward, that could be difficult. So I don't know what that measurement would be, that's the best measurement, but that's something to think about.
Yeah, sometimes they're just like one board, it's really
Yeah,
skinny,
and
and
that
it's
would
not
be
comfortable
Not
either,
good,
but.
yeah.
That is sort of minimalist. I sort of like that.
Yeah,
It's out in nature. That's,
I do too.
but I agree with you. Maybe the armrest would be more helpful. I would sort of.
They might be, for some people, absolutely they could be, yeah.
No, that's great feedback. I do know that if there aren't armrests, if someone wanted to transfer from a wheelchair, they couldn't with the armrests.
Right.
So.
Right.
I think that was ideal.
Yeah.
That's a nice.
I don't know if you go green or brown, I'd leave that to people who know color.
And Roy, would there be a way, or maybe you were talking about this a minute ago, but without a concrete slab, is there not some kind of spike or something you could play in the ground and then put a chain around the back middle of that bench? It's not pretty,
Right.
but it would be quick and hopefully secure enough, just, in other words, loop a chain right through the middle here and have it draw right back down the
There's
bottom.
probably holes in there.
Can you drill
I
right
think
through the?
you have to, because this
3
platform
feet?
wouldn't support this bench if it wasn't bolted in.
This
So this,
style is
yeah, so this,
firm ground.
so there must be a style for, yeah, dirt, soft surfaces, right, dirt.
This is something I was looking at, like having 4 legs opposed to having just those, I don't know how to
Oh,
call it.
okay.
So to have 4 legs
Yeah, so like-
instead, it just seems
Or
more,
recycled
like
plastic.
it would last longer somehow. The bench it would be better supported.
Maybe, I guess it depends on the
Oh, I see, so
structure.
these would work, something like, wow,
Yeah.
maybe, oh. There you go, yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
there you go.
yeah, that's good, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Right.
yeah,
Then it's self-supporting.
that looks good.
yeah.
That's, and
It's very contemporary.
and I like it to be a little bit long, because if you've got a family that would,
Right.
at some point, it would be fun to have little benches, I don't.
What's your measure of a bench width for your normal? Is it for 3 people
Well, yeah,
necessarily?
it
or
must be
4 people?
6 feet, I think the bench shows 6 feet, because then we, like I said, we have another 5 foot next to it.
Mhm.
That's why we end up being, the back is 13 feet wide, so it's 6 and, so it gives us another 1 foot on either side. So it must be a 6 foot bench and 5 foot, for ADA.
1 person per 2 foot?
I don't know, there's 6 foot benches.
Right. But so you don't have a per 6 foot equals X amount of people necessarily.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
They may, but
Okay, so there's 4, 5, 6, and 8 foot. I see.
Yeah, and
And like, what's a
there's
4
some-
foot?
yeah, 4 foot is pretty small,
That's
that's.
$678?
Yeah, we certainly wouldn't have to purchase from Treetop Products. I like.
No, I
the-
just, is a reference.
Oh, got it.
Is the 678 a 4 foot bench?
That looks like the bigger one, is that the 8 foot?
That looks like an 8 foot.
You probably click down
Yeah,
and click on a length.
okay, there you go. 6 foot,
$798.
798.
yeah, it seems like 6 foot's a standard.
Yeah. I think 6 foot.
Yeah,
So, Roy, were you talking about the type of bench that is on the Huron River Trail? Whatever they have on the Huron River Trail is what I vote for, because that's what I'm used to.
Those are nice, yeah.
Right, but I like the idea, we use ones that have the legs that come down, because then we don't have to deal with the concrete, and I guess
yeah.
we'll talk to our maintenance people, it's like, how can we anchor this baby in? What Steve's saying, there's gotta be some screw anchor and just.
I mean, some kind of
hold it.
railroad, spike, but,
Or you might be able to put in, if you're talking about a bench that is on an unpaved trail where you can't get equipment down. So you might just put in some concrete pillars in the ground, what I don't know what they're called, concrete columns.
like a footing.
That's what I'm thinking, a column
Footings,
kind of,
footings.
and then
Because
sort of-
putting in a footing that's, 6 inches in diameter is a heck of a lot easier. A person can do that in the
Exactly.
woods, whereas laying a slab that is, 17 by 13 feet. I've done some slabs like that, and it involves a cement mixer
Oh, yeah.
and my tractor with a front end loader.
Right.
And,
And
you
it's
can
6
do that
inches
with-
thick too, so it's a lot of concrete.
That's
You
a lot.
don't wanna go there.
But putting in footings
Yeah.
is possible, and you can have a little chain or a cable or something.
Mhm.
Because I've seen a lot of picnic tables in Kensington Park that people take into the river to, because it's cooler in the river or something. And it's, people do
Yeah,
dumb
yeah.
things when they get a
The
little bit
picnic
beer.
tables that Hudson, Dexter, Huron, I've seen in the river too.
Yeah.
It's a big job to get them out of the river.
Yeah. So I think what we're saying, a 6-foot recycled bench that has 4 legs.
Yeah,
That fits in with the.
and maybe there's a quantity discount. If we
Yeah, and look on here, because it's someone they should offer the municipal, they're the municipal, you can buy them through municipal.
Like Ann Arbor, where does Ann Arbor get them, where does the road,
Yeah,
county?
County parks, you
State.
need a municipal purchasing program, find out if they're on that, because it basically it's a statewide bid. That's how you buy stuff. It's still expensive, but it's like, rather than $1,200 for a bench, you'll get it for $800. Some number like that's sort of crazy, but.
and if you're by the water, personally, I think it'd be better if there wasn't a cement base just for the runoff. I'd rather it be on wood chips or
Did
something.
you say there's some like donations or like in memoriam kind of things? So people give us some money and then we have to buy a bench and a plaque or something, or how does that work?
I don't have the details, I just know,
I'm dying to
Since
find
Parks-
out about it.
yeah, Parks has really been volunteer run with a lot of passion and gusto and zest, and I think over the past, since 2014, there's been kind of a collection of folks who've maybe sold land and in doing so agreed to have like a memorial bench. I don't have the details. I've really shared as much as I know, but I now have a list of names that should be memorialized.
Oh, so they've given us the money and we owe them a bench, so to speak?
They gave something and we owe a bench,
Oh, let's get the
and
cheap ones.
so I wanna get them there.
Do we have to order the benches before June 30th, or do we have to install them?
No, there's no timeline. The June 30th is just for finishing up the Marshall Park project, or really the Z Road Phase 3 project, with the acronym. It'll come to me, but we got a grant and now we need to wrap it up. And then once we send a picture of trash cans and a bench, we'll get back $300,000.
Yeah, put up their plaque too.
I got the plaque in the mail today.
Right.
Yeah.
You went to
I got a
Lowe's.
picture of a
Yeah.
trash can right here.
Yeah.
On this, your summary of this, of the preserves and parks, what is SEAS? What is that acronym? That Cs might collaborate.
Oh, the School of Environment and Sustainability at University of Michigan.
That I asked.
Great, thank you for the bench feedback. I will look into that and bring a report next time.
Very good. So when will that bench be delivered to you, the one you bought at Lowe's? Did they give you a date or
Sometime this week or next.
will it come here or will it be delivered there?
It'll come here and I'm pushing to get it installed, and just one last installation thought, which I'll look into, is a lot of the spots that we would want benches are probably wetlands. So maybe I'll chat with Roy and try and learn what the county is doing in terms of bench installation.
Yeah, I think with this one, we just gotta get it in. put it somewhere.
We'll put it up on the zebra fence.
Get it at $300,000.
Parking lot out there by the Township Park.
Yeah.
What color did you get in? The flyers.
A nice dark brown. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have anything else to add about summer stuff? I think we really covered that in reports.
Not really, unless everyone wants to know their names.
I think let's just wait on the names till they're hired pending background check, so it's almost.
Yeah. We hope we have them,
Yeah,
And they start the 15th, right?
hopefully.
it's been a little bit pushed due to paperwork and everything, probably the 20th.
Oh, 20.
We were very worried because our 4 choices out of the 9. I was personally very worried that one of them would get a better offer before we got to them. I said yes. So happy day. Okay, and here we are again, time for public comment, if anyone has anything.
All right, I see Pam Boyd with raised hand.
Thank you. Since you have a couple of newer members in this committee, and the fact that you didn't get your minutes from the last meeting, I wanted to remind everybody, Open Meetings Act and minutes, because when your minutes come to this committee next time, you will not be able to make any changes to the minutes of the previous meeting. Allow me 15.269 minutes. Each public body shall keep minutes of each meeting showing the date, time, place, members present, members absent, any decisions made at a meeting open to the public, and the purpose or purposes for which a closed session is held. The minutes shall include all roll call votes taken at the meeting. And here's the important part. The public body shall make any corrections in the minutes at the next meeting after the meeting to which the minutes refer. The public body shall, and the public body is you guys, the public body shall make corrected minutes available at or before the next subsequent meeting after correction. The corrected minutes shall show both the original entry and the correction. So let's say you're going through the minutes of this meeting, next meeting, and you've made some corrections. You have to keep the portion that you need to change in it with a strikeout and put the corrected language right after it. A public body, continuing, a public body shall make proposed minutes available for public inspection within 8 business days after the meeting to which the minutes refer. So therefore, after 8 days, a copy of the draft minutes needs to be with Christie at Township Hall. The public body shall make approved minutes available for public inspection within 5 days after the meeting at which the minutes are approved at the public body. And I know a lot of the committees aren't up on Open Meetings Act. And so if you all would like me to send you the link to this, I'd be happy to do that, but I don't know your new group email address. Thank you.
Pam?
Yes.
Ms. Reiser, are you talking about MCL 15.269? Because on Attorney General Nestle's Open Meetings Act booklet on page 15, she does a good job of kind of summarizing what you just said with links to that.
Yeah, if you want to give that to the rest of the committee, yeah, it's Open
I
Meetings
can
Act.
share it with the keeper of our records. They also talk about what minutes don't have to go on for pages. There's date, time, place, members present, absent, and any decisions made, and the purpose for which we went into closed session. So they don't have to be all that. You can just use our agenda as a starting place for, have a Microsoft Word of our agenda, just type it in, and that kind of can form the minutes. It's whoever does those, whether it's someone here or whether it's staff.
Great, thank you, Pam. Any other public comments? All right. Good to
Motion
go.
to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.